most iconic weapon in cinema. But what's the best lightsaber duel? From the fast-paced choreo of a Maul duel to the emotional highs of Vader vs. Luke. But no duel puts these two together like Anakin vs. Obi-Wan. To understand the stakes of this duel, we have to look at the Chosen One and his descent to the dark side. Almost every single duel in the prequels progress Anakin as a character or gives us some more insight, and this is brought to an accumulation on Mustafar. Starting in the Phantom Menace, we have Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon vs. Maul. This affects Anakin because, well, let's let Dave Filoni do the talking.
What's at stake is really how Anakin's going to turn out. Because Qui-Gon is different than the rest of the Jedi, and you get that in the movie, and Qui-Gon is fighting because he knows he's the father that Anakin needs.
And when Qui-Gon loses, Anakin has a different type of guidance. Thus, the Duel of the Fates. In Attack of the Clones, Anakin is much older and rushes into a fight, and he pays for it with his hand. Not only teaching him a lesson that the Chosen One can't do everything on his own, but it also tells us that he's brash and reckless. Then we see a battle-hardened Clone Wars general. Anakin vs. Dooku serves its purpose by Anakin being merciless and giving us insight on his relationship with Palpatine and obeying his orders. Now we have the council members versus Papa Palps. We see the foreshadowing of Anakin rushing against Dooku between the arrogant council racing in the fight, assuming it'll go like the days of the Old Republic. After swiping down several Jedi Masters, the Chancellor is cornered, and Anakin, the hero of the story, who has slowly been twisted and warped from the righteous boy we saw on Tatooine, who was disregarded by the Council, turned their backs on him at every opportunity possible, finally backfires on them. As he's ordered to kill Palpatine, he takes pity on the one man who has shown him respect. Mace Windu, hypocrite of the Jedi Order, swings his blade to kill a helpless man. Anakin swoops in as the savior he was prophesied to be, but not for the Jedi. Now before we get to Mustafar, I'd like to cover that some people like to call Anakin Darth Vader during this fight, and I would disagree, because in my eyes, he's Anakin only because when every single person he loves loses their faith in him and believes there's no good in him, only then is he Vader. And Ahsoka doesn't really count because she thinks he's dead. When Padme arrives in the fiery depths of Mustafar, Anakin goes to one of the few people who has always shown him support. As they conversate, Anakin only becomes irritated, as he has been so twisted that he believes now that his own wife has turned against him. When Obi-Wan makes his appearance, Anakin loses it. He assumes that Obi-Wan's turned her against him and that her and Obi-Wan are together. When Anakin cracks, he chokes his own wife, the person he loved most, only going to show us how rooted this corruption from Palpatine really is. He then breaks into a monologue, how he has brought the galaxy things it hasn't gotten in years. People would call this clunky dialogue, and once again, I would disagree. We see what our two heroes believe, and why it only continues to show how wrong the Jedi are. They are but mere shadow of themselves now, the Senate's dogs who do their master's bidding. When Obi-Wan says his loyalty is to the Republic, we get a beautiful shot of Anakin looking towards the direction of the camera, with Obi-Wan behind him, showing us that Anakin is past the Jedi. Finally, we are at the greatest lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars. Much like the Clone Wars, we see a civil war amongst brothers, as their ideologies have changed so much that they have come to the last resort of fighting. We see the first blades clash in lightning-fast swings. And before we get any farther, I'd like to say that many like to call this fight over-choreographed, and I would say that makes zero sense. If any fight is over-choreographed, it'd probably be Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon vs. Maul, even though it isn't either. These guys can see things before they happen. Also, Anakin and Obi-Wan know each other's fighting styles so well that of course it'd be slightly predictable for them. Anyway, let's look at Anakin and Obi-Wan's names, because they reveal a lot about their character. Anakin comes from the Hebrew name Anakim, meaning giant, or most likely referring to another giant from a similar race, Goliath, who is a warrior. Now Obi-Wan is a Japanese name meant to show the samurai part of Star Wars. So right now, we have a warrior and a samurai dueling it out, two types of people who are absolutely legendary for their swordsmanship abilities. And while the choreography is phenomenal, we cannot ignore the legendary work of John Williams and Battle of the Heroes. While probably not as good as Duel of the Fates, it is a very different purpose. Instead of being used as a way to make it more epic, it is used to add tons of emotional suspense and makes us compassionate to our two main characters who are brothers and fighting to the death. Just to show you how close Anakin and Obi-Wan really are, I'm going to have you watch this clip from the 2003 Clone Wars show.
You have proven to me that you are capable of all he believed you would be. And now we must leave our roles as master and student. It is time we became brothers.
As we make our way through the halls on Mustafar, we see Anakin and Obi-Wan force push each other. We get to see the balance, very similar to the balance we see between the Jedi and the Sith after Order 66. With Obi-Wan being on the defensive the whole fight, he has nowhere left to go but the precarious beams that overhang the scalding lava. After engaging, they both jump to the lower platform, and here we get my favorite shot in all of Star Wars, summing up the whole fight, Anakin and Obi-Wan grappling with each other like two little brothers who are fighting because they disagree. Then, a massive spout of lava erupts behind them, adding to the epicness of this duel. As lava rains over them, they have to take cover. This is an aspect of a duel that has never been explored. Not only are you battling a skillful opponent, but also the treacherous environment. As their stage falls into the lava below, we see a duel from a vertical setting. It shows the nature of Anakin now, as he continues his barrage, not focusing on falling into the lava. His only goal is to end his former master's life. After all of this, we see how effortlessly they both can evade their surroundings. When Obi-Wan makes a final plea, holding on to the thread of hope that his old friend may be back. Both Force users are right in this debate. Anakin being right, saying the Jedi were plotting to take over, and Obi-Wan saying that Palpatine is evil. As Obi-Wan's last chance slips away, he finds new ground that gives him an advantage. And here we see that Anakin, too focused on killing Obi-Wan to take in his surroundings, makes his final move. Obi-Wan begs him not to, for the sole reason he doesn't want to hurt his friend. He screams a war cry of hate and is diced. Anakin slides down the train, nearing the lava, dismembered and beaten. Obi-Wan apologizing for what he couldn't do as he makes his way up the hill, picking up Anakin's lightsaber. We see a Sith only powered by rage and hate. The inhumane yellow eyes. He screams, "I hate you," and Obi-Wan is heartbroken, telling him that he loved him, when Anakin erupts into flames. This is the most important decision in all of the fight. As the camera swaps from Obi-Wan and an ablaze Anakin, Obi-Wan can kill him, putting him out of his pain, or walking away like a coward. He can't bring himself to do it. After Obi-Wan walks away, the Grim Reaper comes to rescue his apprentice. This is the rise of Darth Vader and the greatest lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars.